The Syntax of Things by Arisha. Chapter 33. To be a fool. Kindness. You should move in. It's a shame for those poor muscles of yours to get jaded, going up and down the stairs every time you fancy a date with me. Oh, let me guess, you just might. Potter rolled his eyes and passed under Severus's arm to walk into the room. Rolled his eyes, instead of being shaped. Severus closed the door. If you somehow fail to consider it, I might desire some privacy when in my private rooms. Not that this should stop you from harassing me or being a pain in the arse, the neck, but it should at least make you feel obligated to disappear every once in a while. You could have simply pretended you weren't here and let me knock until I got bored. Potter offered as he sat on the sofa and took out a textbook. Translation, I don't give a fuck if you don't want me here. Here I am, deal with it, bring drinks, fuck off. Next time I might do just that. Might? Why might? You will. Even when reminding Potter that his merciful offer to assuage his sleepless nights was not in fact an open invitation to sleepovers, he was incapable of adding the respectable amount of bitterness to his words. He'd caused this to himself, and thus he was now being hit by a new wave of self-loathing. It was the boy who insisted on spending time with him. He told himself this wasn't an excuse, however, and it did definitely not justify Severus's permission to continue it. He was the adult here, the professional, the one with the power, the one that was standing still and staring like an idiot. Professor? Blinking the horrors of reality away, he sat, and immediately recalled something objectionable and rather nerve-wracking. What happened in Minerva's class today? Potter shrugged and turned a page. I don't want to talk about it. Then, God, does everyone know? Yes. She informed me privately. Do you care to explain? Explain. It occurred to Severus that Potter had come here to escape from just that, and how he looked close to breaking down. Again? I was at Dumbledore's office just a few hours ago, you know. Sir. Potter chewed on his lip, his eyes fixed on the carpet. If you wanted to listen to my apologies, you should have come by and watched like half the students were trying to. They were waiting just outside. He'd heard so. His Slytherins had laid it on thick, and in a matter of hours the entire school was buzzing with all kinds of rumors and cliché descriptions of the incident. Right now, the tale had it that Potter had a serious addiction to snorting up lacewing flies. I am aware, but what I haven't heard yet is your side of the story. Potter closed his book. Why would you care? You're not curious about what stupid thing I did this time or how much I fucked up? I did. I can't take it back or anything, so there's no point in choking on it. Language! Yes. He spat, and after sharply exhaling, he dourly agreed. Language. Is the fact that you were caught sleeping in class so uneventful to you then? I was under the impression that you were planning on becoming an Auror, a job that you won't stand hearing about once, if you kill the Dark Lord and get done with him. And that since Christmas, you've been sleeping well. For your own good, I deeply hope that you weren't fooling me. The real question was, am I wasting my time on you? No, of course not. I wouldn't do that. I think. He thought. How brilliant. I feel so embarrassed, actually. I don't know how I'll ever face her again. Leaving the book aside, Potter made a face before chuckling. The last couple of nights have been really bad, that is all. You know, second term, everyone's back. I guess I was stressed. When I don't sleep at night, I have to sleep during the day, don't I? And I wasn't planning on falling asleep anyway. My eyes just closed. I told Dumbledore, though. McGonagall said she had to poke me with her wand to wake me up. And why was James Potter's son sharing this with him? He'd asked. A mistake to never be repeated again. She must think I don't respect her at all, but I do respect her. She was the first person I ever respected in here. I fucked up. Messed up. Language. Sorry. Severus could feel his graveness and panic contort his features, and was briefly besieged with a sympathy that had no place in his heart and should be instantly dismantled. The hell with it. That is not an excuse, and you well know it. Potter nodded. Severus went on. The headmaster is worried, but cannot be occupied with your so-called condition at the moment. You may now think that you've been through great pains, but you haven't. Not yet. Life is cruel. A man only becomes what he believes himself to be, never what others believe of him. Do you want to be weak? Potter rolled his eyes. I told you I saw Dumbledore. I don't. Do you want to be weak? No response, and then the boy was angry, still staring at something on the carpet, pressing his lips together. Do you want to be weak? No. And yet you are. If you keep on telling yourself that there are certain things that you can't do, then you will undoubtedly end up incapable of doing them. On the contrary, if you believe that you can do them, you shall acquire the capacity to do so, even if you may not have had it at the beginning. You are falling behind for what, Potter? For whom? For Weasley? For Black? Don't. Potter shut his eyes, but at the sight of his finger slightly trembling, Severus found the courage to go on. He'd break him. If no one else dared to do it, he had to. Do you really think Black would have taken you in then? You're delusional. Do you think you'd play happy little family just the two of you? He never wanted children, Potter. He never liked you. He was only seeing your father in you and was hoping for you to be like him so he can experience again all that he'd lost when your father died and Black was sent to Azkaban. He'd either make a bully out of you or he'd be utterly disappointed in his best friend's son. Potter shook his head but said nothing. His eyes were glimmering. It's true, and you know it. Just as you know that despite everyone telling you that Diggory's death wasn't your fault, in fact, it was. Potter shifted in his seat. Severus was fast. Why share the prize? You could for once take something for yourself, but your kindness wouldn't allow it. I've heard the story, you know. Everyone has. How you could have been faster, but didn't. How you could have saved him. Why didn't you exactly? Were you too startled, too afraid, too weak? Shut up. Potter muttered, his voice barely above the faintest whisper. There was nothing I could have done. Nothing. You'd know that. If you were there, there was absolutely nothing I could have done. My point exactly. The corner of Severus's mouth twitched. Potter rubbed his face, looking away. Done with this, Severus fetched the wine and poured himself a glass. Potter gulped straight from the bottle and then handed it over to Severus. You're a very sad bastard, you know. Cheers.